So welcome to Diversity Pride. We are a club here at Neshaminy High School, and we are about to kick off another part of our series. Mr. DeChico, I'm the advisor for this club. I have wonderful members in this club. And today we have a guest, a Neshaminy community member, Sanaa Hebron. Sanaa, you are in 11th grade, correct?
Yes.
All right, just wanted to make sure. And she's joining us today to take part in our Diverse Voices series, a chance for the Neshaminy community to experience what makes Neshaminy different and part of a greater part of society. So I don't know what I'm saying. Let's give it to Angela. I'll stop speaking.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be our guest this week. So our first question to start us off is, what about you is different, and how has that impacted your life in terms of how has it shaped the person that you are today?
Okay. What about me is different? So my mom, she's mixed, and so my grandma is white, and I have white uncles, and we honestly just all have different perspectives of life and races as a whole. And I would say that diversity and our mindset helped me become the person that I am today.
Could you elaborate on that at all, in the sense of how did the diversity, your idea of who you are, help you become who you are now? Were you always comfortable in your own skin? Does your family always support you in that sense? What have you encountered, and how has that made you the Sanaa that I've grown to appreciate so much in my class?
I definitely was not always comfortable in my skin. I've been, for most of the time in my school career, I've been the only Black girl in my classes for the most part. And that was definitely a struggle. Growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, in elementary school, I hated my curly hair, and that stretched all the way out to middle school and a little bit of high school. I just recently went natural with my curls. So definitely being around a lot of white people, I kind of suppressed my Blackness for a while, and it took a lot of time and getting comfortable around Black people for me to accept myself and be comfortable in my life.
Wow, that was really well said. Thank you so much. I think I might jump to the second question, if that seems right with the rest of the group. This is my one question I was supposed to ask. Sanaa, you wrote specifically in my class about your hair. And so my question to you is kind of lighthearted, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome is your hair?
I would say a 10. I really like my hair. It took a while, but definitely the volume and just being able to have a fro. I feel like that's very empowering for Black people. And I love that I'm able to embrace that now.
That's awesome. Me too. I'm happy that you're embracing that. That's wonderful. All right, I'll let the interview keep going.
All right, so question 3. You mentioned a bit in the first question how you didn't really feel comfortable with your hair in school, in elementary and middle school, but how would you like the academic environment as a whole to interact with you?
What do you mean by that? How would I like school to interact with me as a Black person?
The other students, staff, the material that's being taught, how would you like that to change to interact with you as a Black person?
I think a lot of times in school, there's a lot of microaggressions, and I feel like some people might not notice it, but when you walk into school and say a Black girl just got braids and a teacher asks you if it's your all your hair, I feel like that's just certain stuff that a teacher wouldn't ask a white person, but since they're a Black person, they assume that's not all theirs. Even if it isn't, it's just a question that shouldn't really come up. I also think some teachers should refrain from touching students' hair. And I think we should read more material on
Wait. I'm trying. What? Do you really have to, is that an experience that you've gone through?
Yes, definitely. I went through it last
Well, on behalf of the Chamonix, and I don't know if I can speak for them, and I'm speaking for, I'm sorry. That's terrible. Like, what a violation to have someone touch your hair. Sorry, it seems rather ignorant.
Yeah, it happened. I also would suggest like improving material that we read. I notice a lot like in history and English, there'll be a lot of times that the N word is used in English. And I feel like that's the books that we read is just very traditional. And I feel like during these times, it should definitely be changed and it shouldn't be part of the curriculum. And in history, I feel like we don't appreciate Black culture enough. And anytime you read about Black people, it's only about slavery. And even at that, it's just a little margin of it. And I feel like not enough Black history is taught. Even on like Black History Month, it's always like the same people that they talk about, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr. Like it's not enough hitting all like the Black history that there is.
Well said. Sanaa, I know you took part in a discussion last year, I believe, pre-COVID, about the curriculum, in particular for the English department, which I run. Not that I am in charge of curriculum and instruction; that's a whole another place. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate you saying that now. And it is something I want you to know that, like what you said and your friend said, meant a lot to us. And we have the curriculum as a whole. We are still continuingly to look at that and trying to make changes and adjust and trying to figure out how to bring about a more diverse curriculum, especially in terms of writers and the material in those. So I want you to say that your voice isn't unheard and it has helped bring about change. As you might have noticed, some of the books that were in question we have rethought the teaching practices. So anyway, good point. Just wanted to agree with you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Savannah, are you taking the fourth question?
I thought Angela was on that.
Take it away, Angela.
I don't have it.
Okay, I can certainly ask it. So Sanaa, you're a wonderful person, and I've had the luxury of knowing you for 2 years now. So I know you to some degree, but what should we see when we look at you? What do you want other people to see when they see you? What is all that encompasses Sanaa? Let us know. No pressure.
What do I want to see when they see me? I would like someone to see like somebody that's secure in themselves and doesn't necessarily need like approval to be who they are. I would say that's very important, and to see like confidence in themselves. Other than that, I'd also like someone to see like someone that you could approach easily, and you could just, if you're feeling uncomfortable, or there's anything you want to talk about, that I could be that person. That's about it. I think is the most important.
That's very sweet. Is there anything, if you don't mind me, is there any way we shouldn't look at you? Anything that you would not want the Neshaminy community to see when they look at you?
I would say see me as a threat just because my skin is probably one of the most important. Because I feel like a lot of times there's some stuff where it's just like your race is what people assume about you just because of what's been taught or what you've heard.
Okay, thank you. Can I rewind a little bit? When you said you would love to have a more diverse curriculum, like different books, different things taught, did you have anything in mind? I just figured while we have you here, anything that you read or have watched, or you think that would be good for the Neshaminy community that you might recommend to us?
When I was at George School, we read a lot about Maya Angelou, and I think she's an amazing voice for Black people. And also there's a Netflix documentary called When They See Us. I think that's a great opportunity for people to see how Black children have been treated in America, and it'd definitely be a great way to call upon that, and so people can actually see that and reflect on it. So I think that'd be good, especially because in English we've watched like movies or documentaries or TED Talks. So I think that's very like influential.
I think both of those, I haven't seen When They See Us, but Maya Angelou is pretty amazing. So from poetry to essays to her fiction, just a pretty powerful force of writing. And for the Black community, just has a lot to say and is well said. So thanks for sharing that. Those are wonderful pieces or wonderful ideas.
I remember, I think it's the Caged Bird one. When I
By the
read
Cage
that,
Grave. Yeah,
when
sorry.
it sings, I remember when I read that, Maya Angelou talks about wanting to be a white girl with blue eyes, and how she wanted like one day to go to school and just take off her disguise and everyone would realize that she was a white girl all along. And I feel like a lot of Black girls could speak on that and have felt that way a lot of times, especially when you're in a white neighborhood. And I feel like that'd be a great way just to show other Black girls that other Black girls are going through that.
Yeah, that is a powerful part of that book, and we do have that book in our curriculum. It sits in the book room. I hope that I hope it comes back. Depends on the teacher, but we do have it, and it's a great one. And so that really affected you. Do you want to speak any more about that? So it took you a while to become comfortable in your own hair, even you were saying, and in your own neighborhood. Why do you think it was recently? What made that change for you?
I would say when I started doing track, I definitely was surrounded with more Black people, so that definitely helped. But I feel like one of the biggest things is it's something that you really have to come to terms with by yourself. Because my dad, my parents, my mom, my family, they always told me that my hair was amazing. And I would hear that, but I never thought it myself. So I'd always straighten it. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't believe it yourself, it's not gonna change anything. And then on top of that, I'd always see like even the Black girls that I went to school with, all of their hair was either in braids or was straightened. So it was one of those things like a lot of girls didn't have curly hair. So to try to fit in, I would straighten my hair. And then when the time came that I actually wanted curly hair, it was so damaged that I couldn't even change it like easily. So it was just one of those things where it's like, it just started happening. And especially through social media, there's been a lot of like curly hair movements and natural movements. And when I started following those platforms, it kind of like opened me up to that idea. And then little by little, I just was like, I want to go natural. And it was just one of those things where it took me realizing it to change it.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you realized that, and I thank you for taking us through how you got there. I believe we have one or two more questions for you. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's
okay. Sorry, I just keep giving thumbs up. I'm dorky. Okay. Savannah.
All right, I'll take this one. Do you have any memories where you were accepted for your diversity, like fully, completely accepted for who you were, and how did that make you feel?
At George School, we had this one thing. It was a field trip that you could sign up for, and it was just a bunch of diverse people in the school, and they split it up between groups where it would be like if you're mixed, if you're fully Black, like it had all these different boxes. And when you got into the room, everyone just shared like certain stories. And it was the one time where it was like I heard stories where I've gone through the exact same thing, and it was just eye-opening to realize like how many people go through the same things as you, and you feel alone at the time. But when you actually can meet in a group and everyone speaks on the same issues, and it's just, you feel like whole kind of. And even then, like it wasn't even a bunch of Black people. It was people that are mixed with Asian and white, and we're still encountering like the same issues. And it was just really nice to actually like have that eye-opening experience. So I would say definitely that was one where I felt like accepted and in my diversity.
And I'm gonna backtrack for a second here, but you were talking about how there was been a social media movement of seeing curly hair more often. How do you see yourself how has that influenced you and like the choices that you've made as a young Black woman in America? Like, how do you see yourself represented in media, in anywhere?
I feel like Black women aren't represented enough at all. And I think in Hollywood, there's definitely, they always pick like a token Black girl. And usually it's light-skinned women. And even if it is a dark-skinned woman, it's the same one every time for each role, and they never change it. And I feel like in The Hate U Give, it was originally a dark-skinned girl. And then when it turned into a movie, it was a light-skinned girl. And I feel like even though we're all Black, depending on your skin tone, you go through different problems. And I feel like dark skinned women are definitely not heard enough. And it's definitely a shame that some of the roles are taken just because light skinned women are more acceptable by white women, white people in general. And I would say it's definitely really sad. And even in the curly hair movement, looser hair patterns are more accepted. The tighter your hair is, usually it's called nappy, and they try to degrade it. And I think that's very sad that even in the Black community, we're still split up by those things that were set by white people. And I think that's definitely something that we have to improve on. But even in the curly hair movement, there's still little issues with it.
What kind of steps do you think could be taken to improve that situation?
Honestly, I feel like some of it has to be improved by Black people themselves, because there's a lot of things where we have like self-hate. And because even some Black people say they don't like dark-skinned people just because their skin's dark. So there's definitely a lot of self-hate embedded in these problems. But also with white people, I just think it's like an image thing. People were told that you being lighter means you're more pretty, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's definitely an issue. I don't even know what I could say to improve it. It's just something that really needs to change. And I think it's a lot of people's just mindset for real.
All right, I think we have one final question, and then we'll open it up to the audience. What do you want people to take away from this interview overall? Like, what do you want people to see and internalize from this?
I think what I want people to see is kind of like look back on some of the stuff that you might have said to a Black person that you might have not thought was that serious, but it definitely sticks with a lot of people. I could definitely name a lot of times that I felt uncomfortable, even as a kid, just because of my race. And I think definitely just reflect on the things that you say and try to be more of an ally rather than saying, oh, well, I don't mean it like that. Well, you can't really tell how someone takes it. So definitely reflecting and kind of thinking on what you could do to help diversity, and that's about it.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think right now, Sanaa, that if we have any questions from the audience and they want to send them to our co-host Savannah, they are welcome to do that. So we're gonna give everyone like a minute. And again, I just want to thank you so much for being our guest today. You've been a great interviewee. So
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Were you nervous coming on?
Kind of. I've gotten kind of used to interviews because of track. So I get used to like kind of thinking on my feet with them. So I've gotten better.
The fame.
No.
Lots of cameras shooting pictures at you. I understand. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I'm not sure. I'm not in control of the chat, so I don't even have it open. So I don't know if we have extra questions or not. But if we don't, I have one for you. Would you, the Neshaminy community compared to the George School community? You spoke about George School quite a bit, and I know your mother works there. I believe she's a dean, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that at all? I'm just curious as an educator in the Neshaminy community. Do you see a vast difference, and why is that?
I would say yes and no. There's definitely some things that are the same as Neshaminy, but I would say George School definitely tries their best to kind of like open up the diversity. There's a club called Emoja where it's meant for Black people to speak on certain issues and just to come together as a group. And there would be dances on the weekend where they invite a lot of other schools that have like another like emoja group. And it was just a good time for like people with different diversities come together. I would say Neshamley definitely doesn't have enough Black people that feel the need to speak out, or even that they have a place to talk about these type of things. And I feel like George School definitely makes the effort to have a spot in an area for people to speak about these issues. And I think that's definitely a big difference in the two schools.
Thank you. I hope we can at Neshaminy, with this club and others, that we can continue to try to do better. So thank you again. Questions from the audience, Savannah? Do we have any?
I don't think we do.
Well-
Thank you for joining us, Sanaa. It has been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Angela, do you have any final words?
I just want to thank the audience for coming out today to hear Sanaa share her thoughts about this topic. If anybody would like to be our next interviewee for our next episode, please let us know. But other than that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sanaa, for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Sanaa. Thanks for your perspective. And again, Sanaa, when we have it all done up, the video, we will send it to you and you can see it first, okay?
Okay. Thank you guys.
Now, thank you so much. It was wonderful. I feel like I've grown. So, all right, everyone, Diversity Pride is out. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye, Savannah. Bye, Angela. Do you think it went well?
I think it went pretty well. We didn't have a lot of audience questions.
No, I'm going to stop.